everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I found another goodie today. Hey, this one is from Chuck Grassley. Now, this is one of those letters that probably not a lot have seen, but you'll notice it's dated yesterday. So, with all the other stuff that's going on, and with all of the interviews and hearings that have been postponed because of the funeral, sorry I can't do anything about that. We're seeing a little bit of a delay in everything that's going to be coming out, but this one is fun. I wanted to show this to you. This guy Grassley is such a patriot. We gotta love him. And I'm going to give you contact information for him in just a bit so you can actually send him a comment and tell him thanks for what you're doing. I think we need to just shower this man with all of our affection because this is just incredible. He really takes a stand against the Democrats here. So here we go. Stick with me. This is to the Honorable Richard Blumenthal. Honorable is questionable. But anyway, dear Senator Blumenthal, I received your letter regarding Donald Trump Jr., dated December 3rd, 2018, which had an electronic file name also dating it as November 30th, 2018. In your letter, you wrote, recent press reports indicate that Donald Trump Jr. may have lied in his statements to the committee on September 7, 2017. Mr. Trump Jr. testified to the committee that he was only peripherally aware of the Trump Organization's negotiations with the Russians in 2015 to build a Trump Tower Moscow, a deal about which he knew very little. The president's former personal lawyer and longtime fixer, Michael Cohen, testified in federal court last week, however, that discussions to build a Trump Tower in Moscow took place through at least the summer of 2016, while then-candidate Trump was clinching the Republican nomination, and that Cohen briefed members of Trump's family within the Trump Organization of those developments. You referenced recent press reports for that claim, but did not cite any in the footnote to that sentence. I suspect I know why. On November 30th, 2018, NPR published a story titled, Trump Jr.'s 2017 testimony conflicts with Cohen's account of Russian talks. And he gives footnotes. I mean, this is the thing I love about Grassley. He must be an awesome lawyer because he puts footnotes everywhere. He documents everything he says. So, the article made this argument, claiming that Cohen's acknowledgement that the real estate efforts had continued into 2016 somehow implicated Trump Jr., as though Trump Jr. had told the committee it had ended earlier. That was fake news. The author had mischaracterized a section of the transcript referring to a different, earlier attempt that had ended before the presidential campaign. NPR corrected the story, admitting an earlier version of this report mischaracterized an answer Donald Trump Jr. gave to Senate investigators in 2017 about the prospective projects his family was negotiating with people in Moscow. Trump Jr. did acknowledge in his testimony that Cohen and another man were exploring a possible deal in Moscow in 2015 or 2016. The interview transcript clearly reflects this acknowledgement. Any claim to the contrary is incorrect. Your letter also seems to claim that Mr. Cohen's acknowledgement that he briefed members of the Trump family on the efforts is somehow inconsistent with Mr. Trump Jr.'s statement to the committee that he was aware peripherally of the deal. But there is nothing inconsistent about these statements. Mr. Trump Jr. told the committee he was aware of the efforts by Mr. Cohen and Mr. Sater, that he knew that a letter of intent had been signed by his father, but did not know who the counterparty was because he, Trump Jr., had not been involved in arranging the letter of intent. When asked by committee investigators, did you have any involvement in this potential deal in Moscow? Mr. Trump acknowledged he knew of it, saying, like I said, I was peripherally aware of it. There is nothing inconsistent here. Mr. Cohen says he briefed members of the Trump family about the effort. Mr. Trump Jr. said he was aware of the deal, but was not involved in arranging the letter of intent. Puzzlingly, your letter also cites yet another claim that was the subject of a high-profile retraction. You cited a CNN article from July 2018 to imply that Mr. Trump Jr. may have lied when he said he did not tell his father in advance about the June 9th, 2016 Trump Tower meeting. That CNN article cited an anonymous source to claim that Mr. Cohen had witnessed Mr. Trump Jr. tell his father about the meeting beforehand. That anonymous source was later revealed to be Lanny Davis, Cohen's attorney, who retracted his claim in a bizarre media spectacle, which your office seems to have missed. As the Washington Post later explained, and again, look at all the things he has down here. In a pair of new interviews with the Washington Post and BuzzFeed, Davis has backed off two massive claims he made in recent weeks, including that former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen had told people he witnessed President Trump being informed of Donald Trump Jr.'s 2016 Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer before it happened. He also has admitted he was the source for the initial report on that claim, despite denying it last week. I remember when that one came out. It was just like, what? Okay. That initial report is the very CNN article you cited. Your letter also attempted to raise questions about perceived inconsistencies between Mr. Trump Jr.'s interview with the committee, the transcript of which I released on May 16, 2018, and a subsequent New York Times article published on May 19, 2018. Unfortunately, as we have seen all too frequently, reporting related to the Russia investigation and the Trump campaign has often been inaccurate. I mean, he doesn't mince words. I love this about Grassley. Even if this reporting is entirely accurate, it is not clear that anything in that article contradicts Mr. Trump Jr.'s testimony, let alone materially so. While it is possible there could be contradictions, there are potentially innocuous explanations as well. Mr. Cohen did plead guilty to lying to Congress and must be held to account for doing so. Congress must be able to get true information from witnesses in order to perform its constitutional duties. In the heated political environment surrounding the Russia investigation, it is also important to understand what Mr. Cohen specifically did and did not lie about, and not to draw unwarranted conclusions. Notably, the special counsel did not charge Mr. Cohen with lying to Congress when he stated, now notice this part must be true because the special counsel didn't charge him on this. So, given my own proximity to the President of the United States as a candidate, let me also say that I never saw anything, not a hint of anything, that demonstrated his involvement in Russian interference in our election or any form of Russian collusion. I emphatically state that I had nothing to do with any Russian involvement in our electoral process. So, yeah, that was the truth, evidently, and the special counsel didn't charge him on that. So I love the way Grassley's pointing that out. Hey, did y'all miss this, Blumenthal? Of course, where we do have actual evidence of misleading testimony in committee interviews, we should treat it seriously. For example, when the committee staff interviewed Glenn Simpson, of Fusion GPS, by the way, in August of 2017, majority staff asked him, "So you didn't do any work on the Trump matter after the election date? That was the end of your work?" Mr. Simpson answered, "I had no client after the election." As we now know, that was extremely misleading, if not an outright lie. Oh, yeah, they did too. Contrary to Mr. Simpson's denial in the staff interview, according to the FBI and others, Fusion actually did continue Trump dossier work for a new client after the election. As part of the public release of the House Intelligence Committee's majority report on its Russia investigation, the executive branch declassified some previously classified information from an FBI document. That information detailed a March 2017 meeting between Daniel Jones and the FBI. Mr. Jones stated that he was leading a research and an investigatory advisory organization called the Penn Quarter Group, which had secured the services Steele, his associate, redacted, and Fusion GPS to continue exposing Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Mr. Jones further told the FBI that the Penn Quarter Group was being funded by 7 to 10 wealthy donors located primarily in New York and California, who provided approximately $50 million. That's a lot of money, man. And, New York. Let's see, who lives in New York? Yeah, don't the Clintons live in New York? Mm-hmm. And California, well, we know who all lives in California. There's a passel of them. The report noted that Mr. Jones stated he planned to push the information he obtained from Fusion and Steele to policymakers on Capitol Hill, the press, and the FBI. As with statements to the committee, statements to the FBI, like Mr. Jones's, are subject to 18 U.S.C. paragraph 1001. So, despite the fact Mr. Simpson said he had no client after the election, he in fact did, and that client revealed himself to the FBI. Similarly, in the process of the Kavanaugh confirmation, the committee received several statements from purported accusers later shown to be false. I hope that the Justice Department is handling all these instances of false statements to Congress with the same level of seriousness they treated Mr. Cohen's. In sum, I do not believe the examples you have cited warrant bringing Mr. Trump Jr. back in for an additional committee interview. If you have more questions for him, I respectfully suggest you write to his attorneys. Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the letter that Blumenthal sent, but I'm going to go look for it. If I find it, I'll put it down below. But you can kind of tell what it was about just from reading this. And it's like, oh man. And the less I read of Blumenthal, probably the better off I am, because he gets to me. All of them do like that. They just are like, I hate reading what they're saying because I know it's a pack of lies. And I wanted to share this with you. This page, the link will be down below. This is where you can go to send Chuck Grassley a nice thank you note. And it's really easy, doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to go get a stamp or write a letter or have an envelope. You just fill this out and you click the button and let it go. So my suggestion is, even if he's not your senator, send something to him and say thank you for what you're doing, because you, sir, are a patriot and you have been doing some amazing things for our country behind the scenes. So send him a letter. I'd love to see him inundated by all these people that want to say thank you to him for the job he is doing exposing a lot of this corruption and standing firm against the deep state. That's what I've got for you today. I thought I would share that with you, and I hope you have a great day. See you later.